はい、Aiki-waza クラスナンバー4、普段行います。
We're going to start Aiki-waza class number 4.
Hi, today's practice Aiki-waza uke 2 feet でuke strong でAiki-waza technique
English.
はい、はい。Last time, Aiki-waza class number 1, 2, 3, only 1 by 1. Today, 2 feet Aiki-waza.
So up to Aiki-waza class up to 3 was only 1 uke, 1 opponent. This time today I'm using 2 uke, so 2 opponents.
よくあるのが、この2人をパッと上から投げる、相手が投げる。
So yes, quite often I show this against the 2 at the same time using Aiki-waza.
この状態でただ投げるって言ってもこれは投げられるので。
So you can't really throw without the first adjustment or locking, you may call it, and just to throw without it, that's this how, see, without locking, yeah, that's okay, that's natural, that's fine. Without locking, there's nothing happens. That's no locking, I'm just trying to push them over. But I need to lock them up through my wrist. And I lock the joints of the elbows and the shoulders, two people at the same time locking. So the strength of these 2 people are different. One I locked it, second I locked it, then now I move together. So first think of two separate strengths. So what you need to do is really lock, well, as I always say, lock first. You need to lock. Now I locked through his wrist and then I feel his elbow and his shoulders locked. Therefore his body's locked. Then 2. So the different sort of flow, 1 forward, 1 backwards, I control their strength over. So right to hand. So now I locked through that strength to forward. Now backwards, that's how the strength is flowing. So forward and backwards, but lock first. And then move quickly with the speed. Speed is force. So I needed to lock first, and then I spinned 1 forward, 1 backwards. I spinned myself, and as I spinned, they go. So I see in the videos of Aikido people doing what they do. It's just that they are just spinning themselves, but not really together with their opponents because there are no locks at the beginning, and which is not right. And then you can actually change or control how you throw. You can decide. It's your option. Lock first, and I decide that I want to throw that one forward, that one backwards. That one I decided to throw forward, I decided to throw him backwards. So that's my control. So yes, I have to fix my center originally and then lock them first. Right, both different strength coming through. So separately I can lock, but it's so short, it looks like one timing, but I lock one by one, and then I decide one's going forward, one's backward, and I spin myself. They go.
こういうのはまあ、いろんな人のビデオがありますけども、腕がどういう力が働いているかというのを見てみます。
So when you see the videos of people doing similar techniques, like say I call it Aiki-waza, in videos you really need to see how the connection between uke and the shite happening. There you can, if you see it, you can see how the strength is flowing. Without that connection, there's nothing really happening.
で、今度は右手を
So two people holding one arm this time.
で、こう持ってきて
So they are all the strength is adding into one spot.
この位置から今度はこの手をこういう相手の体全体に巻き込む。
So what I'm going to control is really creating sort of spinning flow of the strength.
この巻き込んだところから中心に
So I keep spinning that flow of the strength.
この位置からこの指先を中心に
So from that finger, it's the axis of the center.
相手のこの手に
That's the center of the, and I lock them.
で今度はこれを自分の体を中心に巻き
And now I just spinned my own body and making like a spinning sort of flow. Now using elbow, holding from the bottom, from under, one arm each.
こう下からついて
So both of them trying to put whole strength into holding spot.
でこれをこの持ってるところの体重をこう乗せる
So what I'm doing is I put all my strength, all my centered, concentrated strength, using my whole weight. I drop it.
これを後ろ足でこの
Remember from Aiki-waza class, all the classes, from the back toe, I have to gather all my centered strength and then drop them on their holding spot. Okay, so again, lots of strength coming into my body. I feel the flow of their strength, and then I
この位置から
unite
腰を
my own center line strength, unite them all and drop.
で今度は、こう持ってる時が
Now two together from E.
力とか持ってるけどもまだ僕の体と体がつながってない
So though they are holding with whole strength, their strengths are not united to my body yet. They are just holding me, but not united yet.
これを自分の下からこう上げる力
What I do is from my lower body again, using, and now locked up. So I move, they move. それは誰かにやらせた方がいいと思うな。Okay, so what happened was what Sensei said. Now, can you feel, Lawrence, their strength, their strength and flowing into your body?
Yes.
And then see if what Sensei said was concentrating from your lower part of the body, concentrated all the power and drop onto their connection point to unite their strengths together. Then move afterwards.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Trying.
これは何やってるかというと上からの力がしかつかないね
So what Sensei says is what he's feeling from Lawrence's strength is only from his upper body strength. That's what I'm feeling.
でそうすると上からこう押さえるからこっち側も上にこう押し返して だけの
Because
つながってない。
because it's not connected, but feeling the strength from his upper body, naturally, I try to push that strength backwards. Right, Kaido, how do you feel with the difference between senses and Lawrence's? What's the difference?
Like when Sensei does it, feels like body stiffens up, but when Lawrence does it, doesn't feel. I don't feel this part like just being heavy because of his body weight. Like I don't feel the body stiffening up like what Sensei did.
That's what it's feeling like. So that's what we need to lock the ukes. Otherwise, Aiki-waza never works. That's what the sensei always says. To make Aiki-waza work, locking. But they are saying they are feeling his strength, a lot of his strength. Being pulled for sure. But Aiki-waza sensei always says, Aiki-waza without this initial lock, and if people are throwing on the videos, they are not doing Aiki-waza. They are just throwing with the strength. It's again, can you feel? It's what sensei says is his only upper strength. The same, Lawrence, what do you express? What do you feel the difference between sensei and Kaido?
Yeah, I just think, no lock, just like no problem.
From lower your body, sensei says. Lower part. So sensei trying to copy what Lawrence and Kaido did. That's what they are doing. That's what they are doing with the strength. So I can copy and then can you throw them, do you think, with the sensei? No, without locking them but using my strength, their strengths are much bigger, therefore I can't throw them. But I from my lower body and I unite them all, lock them up. Then I can move them. So my hands are just, he said, stoppers. Stop what? 何をストップしてるんですか?
相手の体を上に上げないんです。
So what I'm stopping is not stopping their body going higher. So I can concentrate my all strength into their body easier.
これが手だとすると、下から僕の力を下から突き上げるね。で、この上からの手で押さえる。で、みんなの逆で、こっちから押そうとする。
Right. What Kaido and Lawrence were doing was they were using their upper hand to just pushing the ukes down. That they were pushing. What I'm using for my hands are just stopping or connecting from my lower body's concentrated power and then stopping on my hands to almost sandwich together. And so I can lock them together. Sandwich, more like sandwiching their bodies. That's how I feel. From the bottom he's saying, only one side. Kaido and Lawrence, what they are doing is only one side only from the top one I'm feeling. So you two are not coming from the bottom to sandwich the ukes. And that's where I unite them all. So their strength this time coming from underneath, as obviously you can see, and where even I'm lifting up. So almost I sort of return their strength backwards in a circular motion. So you have to really see the flow of the strength, how strength flew. That's what you have to see.
ぱり持ち上げられてる時っていうのはまだ一体化してないのね。で持ち上げられた時にこっちが胸でクッと回す。だから相手と自分の体がちょうど3度ずつにしてるみたいになって。
Okay, so when I was lifted, their strength just came into my body. If it's still not united yet, then again I concentrate from my lower part to return them. So again, it's almost sandwiching their strength. It's the same principle. Looks different, but using the same principle. So you can see the flow of the strength coming into my body. It's all separate. And I concentrated and returned their strength into their body, uniting one. At the beginning, two separate strengths coming from Lawrence and Kaido, united together and dropped it. Holding belt. It's the same principle again. Again, if I'm using my two hands to push them down, then their strength is much bigger, therefore I can't push them down. But what I did is united all their strength into my sort of hips. But again, it's coming from lower part of the body. So now separate originally, and then you can see my toes, and I put all my united power into the connection where I can lock them up. The same principle I'm using. So it's coming from my lower part of the body, and where my hips, that's where I was connected from my lower part, and that's where the center power happened, and I drop it on the connection points where their hands were grabbing on my belt, and unite them all together. So again, connecting, and then I can decide either going forward or backwards. But connecting and uniting all together, without that happening, nothing works. This time I spin it. So it's all the same principle coming from my lower parts of the body, using the center line, and then put out the center power. That's from my own first, and then unite it or drop it onto their connection where their connections are. And once you unite them together, two separate forces from ukes become all one, and then it becomes all united. And then it's a matter of pushing it forward or backwards or spinning. It's my option. So it's coming from my lower part. So if I go backwards, he goes backwards, as I said. I'm just showing it because I think it's easier to see one by one. But as you can see, it has to have that unification. That has to happen at the beginning. Then nothing happens. Otherwise, nothing happens. So unification or locking has to happen first. Then after that, it's whatever I decide to do, because it's already united. Then going forward, he will go forward. Go backwards, gonna go backwards. Throw, I can throw. Just adding a bit of strength. Once you can do it against one person, and it's the same against 2, 3, 4. It's the same. Okay, so hopefully you learned something about Aiki-waza from my class.
Right.